What else to say? He was lying. The professor was beyond help. David extended a tumbling and which clasped a ring of keys. Richard took him gently for a moment. The two of them looked into each other's eyes. David tried to speak again, but it was too much for him. He coughed painfully, then his hand fell back and his eyes closed. Holding the keys, Richard stood up. He could see Matt below him, some distance away, and knew what he was thinking right now. There was a killer inside the museum. Someone or something had attacked Professor David, and they would surely be next. But what were they up against? Why couldn't they see anything moving? Slowly, now Richard went back down the stairs, his every sense alert. The two of them were so small in the enormous place. He felt horrible, exposed. Did you get them? Matt asked. Yes. Richard held up the keys. Let's go out of here without Professor David. He's dead, I'm sorry. There's nothing we can do. But what killed him? I don't know. Richard gazed upwards, his eyes whispering across the ventilated ceiling. But let's not stay to find out. He turned, and at that moment there was a sudden whirl in the air. Matt threw a protective arm across his face and staggered into Richard. What's wrong? Richard demanded. There was something. Matt looked around him, but there was nothing there. Something flew near my head. He instead flew. Yes. Did you see what it was? No, but I sensed it. It wasn't so close. I felt it go past. I can't see anything. But then it drove towards them again, sweeping down at the mist, and this time there could be no mistaking it. Even it took Matt precious seconds to work it out. Triangular and white, the creature was never living, no death coming at them like something out of an idiot's dream. It had eye sockets, but no eyes, wings, but no feathers. A bulging rib cage with nothing inside, moving faster than ever, almost a blur. It shot down its claws, or stretched out, and its needle-shaped teeth were bared in an evil grimace. Matt fell back. He felt one of the wings shoulder past his face, and knew that if he had waited a second longer, he would have been protective. Now he understands what had happened to Professor David. Richard reached down and helped him up. Did you see it? He muttered. Of course I did. You saw that. You saw what it was. Yes. What? I didn't know, Matt. I recognized it, but he couldn't put it into words. It's a trick. Richard said it has to be a trick. It wasn't real. They had been attacked by something that couldn't fly, that couldn't even exist. It was a creature that hadn't been seen on the planet for many millions of years. A, a protectic, a pterosauric expert. That what it wasn't quite a protectorial, it was the fossilized skeleton of a protectical wired together and put on display at the National History Museum. It had been brought to life and now it was somewhere above them. Look out! Matt shouted the warning as the protectively swooped down a third time, plummeting out of the gloomy heights of the L and hunting towards them. He stood no doubt that the claws would rip his flesh away if he allowed them to make contact. The creature was so vicious as it had been when it had flown over prosthetic world. It was being guided, being used as an impossible weapon. Its hand and claw missed Matt by centimeters, and he thought he had escaped, but as it went past, one of its wings tips brushed his face, and he felt a sneering pain. But as the bones cut into him, he gasped and put a hand to his cheek. There was blood on his arm. He protectively performed an aerial somersault and soared back the way it had come. There had been no noise, no warning, nothing. The museum was utterly silent. Matt Richard began. There was a panic in his eyes. I'm okay, Matt said, his hand still pressed against his cheek. You have been cut. I don't think it's deep, Richard craned his neck, starting up at the ceiling where got to go. Matt grimped. I was thinking of staying. He had barely spoken the word, barely. The protectively was back this time. Richard was the target. The outstretched wing slashed through the air. It was as sharp as a sword. Richard accused. Richard for a dead full moment. Matt thought he'd been it. It's okay. It missed. It may. It's gone. Yes. What about the others? What Professor David had called it the most remarkable exhibition of dinosaur fossils ever seen in London. Collectively was one only of them. There were dozens more all around them. Richard and Matt were standing in the middle of an X-ray vision of Jurassic Park. Even as Richard realized the true nature of the danger, there was an explosion as one of the display cases, just a few meters away from the burst apart, there had been a skeleton inside it, held up by a steel frame. But now it broke free and come lumbering out. It was hard to see anything clearly in the mist and the darkness. The Matt could just about make out something They resembled a crocodile, long and narrow, with short, squirt legs holding it just above the floor it had been thrown. Subscribe, hit bell, share, like, maybe watch more videos.